Hi, everyone. I'm Ivan, and I guess first of all, I'd just like to join James and thank you, all of you, for coming this morning. It's the fourth time we run Lifecycle, and I guess 2 years ago, we set out on a mission. So James and Alan, Jalal, and I, the four of us, started Ametria with a mission of making retailers more data-driven. We saw that they were people that were struggling because of the technology available to them. And we wanted to build a tool that let them focus on the things that they were most interested in doing and not on the really boring, mundane aspects of it. And as part of that, we also realized we wanted to build a community, and that's really what we're doing here today. Each time, this event has doubled in size, and we hope that that's going to continue over time. We hope that you'll all continue joining us for these great events. I'd like to talk to you today about the future of retail marketing. And I'd like to kick off with artificial intelligence. Now, a few months ago, we were voted one of Wired magazine's hottest European companies, something that we're really proud of and excited about as a team. But even more interestingly, in that magazine, in that issue, there was an article about artificial intelligence, and in particular about how it's not going to become one of these malevolent, globally dominating entities that we've seen in movies. It's not going to be Terminator. Instead, AI is being applied right now to individual applications. To quote the article, there's nothing we can think of that cannot be made new, different, or interesting by infusing it with some extra IQ. And that's really what we're doing at Ametria. And the application that we've chosen is the communication between retailers and their customers. So let's take this back a few decades. There was once a time when communication between retailers and customers were very simple. There was actually only one direct channel of communication. Retailers would send a catalog, and they would send the same catalog to every single customer, because really it's quite difficult to print different catalogs for different people. And that would be it. So there would be no control. You send out 100,000 catalogs and you hope some people order. But then the internet revolution took hold, and suddenly it got much more complicated. You have email, you have display advertising, you have social media, apps, in-store beacons. It all got really complicated. All of these things are relevant and necessary to an e-commerce marketer, to any retailer right now, in order to attract the right audience, in order to get them to keep coming back. I won't take up half an hour talking about all of them. So let's focus. Let's keep it short. Let's focus on email. Email today in 2015 is still by far the best channel that a retailer can use to communicate with their specific customers on an individual level. If you look across the industry, between 20 and 30% of revenue is driven by email. And it's ultimately a close to free channel. Sure, you need to have some people running it, and you need to create design, but you're not paying for it in the same way as an acquisition channel works. So, a big chunk of your revenue, much better cost than acquisition. And if we consider where email has come from, this was my first experience of email. This is CompuServe back in the mid-90s on a 14.4K modem. I see some smirking at the back. I wasn't 3 years old back then. I'm older than I look. Let's do an interactive session. So actually, so this was my first experience. Has anyone used CompuServe? Did anyone use email back then? Okay, a couple of hands are coming up. Okay, what about this one, AOL? Yeah? Okay, a few more. So still a small proportion of the room. Outlook Express back in the day? Okay, we're almost there. So pretty much most of the room has used Outlook Express, and certainly everyone here has used Outlook. If you think back to then, Outlook would download all of your emails. It was a sort of client-server interaction. You'd have them all locally on your computer. And what that meant was that to delete it, you'd go through one by one, and you'd see the email, right? You would see every single email before deleting it. And then came along these webmail clients, so Hotmail, with their free 25 megabytes of online storage. And suddenly it all changed, right? Because 25 megabytes wasn't that much, so you'd delete stuff all the time. And internet connections were really slow. So actually, you wouldn't click into each one and wait for it to load. If you saw something and you weren't really interested, you'd tick the box and you'd press the delete button. And what that means was suddenly open rates became a thing, right? We were suddenly potentially not even opening an email. Google came along with Gmail, and they innovated even further. Suddenly, they had a collaborative spam filter. So if I sent all of you an email inviting you to Lifecycle, and this half of the room all clicked the report spam button, then this half of the room may not even see the email. Google just wouldn't allow it. Then came the promotions tab, and suddenly marketing emails weren't even in the mainstream. They were somewhere else. They were hidden. It was an extra barrier. And now, with Google Inbox, nobody has a clue what's going on. It might arrive, it might not. Like, you might see this image, you might not. Just no idea, right? We've given up. It gets worse. Sane box, unroll me. The consumer is in charge entirely of what they get to see, right? It's entirely up to them. The technology that they have now is immensely powerful, and for them, that's fantastic. For the retail marketer, this is terrifying, right? We have nothing to battle, nothing to use to fight back. We are stuck. We're typing a newsletter. We're sending it out. This is the de facto standard that exists in the retail space right now. And so we at Ametria believe that it's time to fight back. We believe that it shouldn't just be on the consumer side that technology advances at such a pace. It really should be on the retail marketing side as well. So what is the future of retail marketing? After all, that's the title of the talk. Well, as we've all heard many times, no doubt, the future is data. But is it? This is data. This is data when it looks a little bit nicer, right? And to me, I love this. I'm a mathematician by training. I studied statistics and probability, and I'm a super nerd. I love this. But we spoke to hundreds of retailers, and we spoke to hundreds of retail and e-commerce marketers while building the Ametria platform, and we continue to do so every day. And what we realized is they're not about the data. Yes, data is important, and yes, they understand that they need it. But that's not what they enjoy doing. That's not what they want to spend time doing. What they want to spend time doing is focusing on creating amazing campaigns that are fun, that are interested, that aren't data-driven, but that they use their creativity and insight for. Campaigns like this and that. Campaigns that drive more revenue to their business and thus achieve that benefit, that outcome that they're looking to do in their role. But what we also discovered is that what they were mostly doing was this, staring at a web analytics screen. Or even worse, this, sending an email to someone to ask for an Excel spreadsheet. And the more retailers we spoke to, the more we realized that this was the reality across the board. That fundamentally, something was missing and something had to be done. So we went out to solve that problem, and we did. Ametria has been providing market-leading e-commerce intelligence solutions for a couple of years now. We've been giving retailers the ability to get a total insight, a true single customer view. And we've had some great experiences working together with really data-driven retailers like Swoon Editions. And actually, we're really proud to be able to hear from both Swoon Editions and Botica and Secret Escapes, because they're three of the fastest growing e-commerce businesses in the UK. And they're all entirely data-driven from the ground up. That's how the businesses were built, and that's how the businesses continue to scale. Today, though, we are launching something even better than what we've been doing. So as I said, we've been providing a market-leading e-commerce intelligence solution, something that gives data, something that gives insights, something that allows you to track every single one of your customers, identify them when they come to your site, even if they use multiple devices, even if they want to use a mobile phone to browse and then do the checkout at the end on their desktop when they get home. Something that knows when they've been looking at items, which products they've added to basket, what categories they're interested in. Something that is able to see what interactions they have with their emails and combine it all into one place. Something that then is powered by our predictive models that allows you to work out when customers are likely to start lapsing and how to prevent that from happening, and what products you should recommend to them to maximize their overall lifetime value. Something that shows you exactly what you're doing that's working really well. We talked about the concept of life cycle. James mentioned it at the beginning. The reason we're such keen proponents of customer lifecycle marketing is because it puts a framework on your ability to understand your customer database. And all the best data-driven retailers we know have been doing this from the beginning. We've provided a tool to make that easier and better to understand. Your customers will go from signing up to your email list to being a first-time buyer, to being a repeat buyer, a loyal customer, a hero customer, and then potentially to lapsing. And trying to work all of that out is extremely difficult. But when you get it right, when you see that in December, you've had the best month in terms of getting your first-time buyers to buy for the second time, and when with one click you can see why that is so that you can repeat it, you can see which campaigns you sent that led to that second purchase, which coupon codes, which traffic sources, what products people are interested in when they've already bought and want to buy again. With one click, you can work out exactly what you should be repeating and what you should stop doing in order to accelerate your growth. But although this insight has been great, what we've heard from all the retailers that we've worked with is that data on its own isn't quite enough. Although they've been able to get all of the best insights about how to grow their business, and they've been able to understand what steps to take, they've been stuck using other technologies, and unfortunately those technologies haven't allowed them to act on this data in quite the same way that they wanted to. So they came to us and they said that actually this was causing an issue, because great though our insights were, if they're not able to act on it, there was no point. So today, as James mentioned, we're actually very proud to announce our latest and biggest release. A release that means that the Ametria Customer Lifecycle Marketing Suite now includes full marketing automation. So campaigns, data-driven, predictive-driven campaigns based on all of this data will be powered directly within the platform. Everything from VIP recognition that identifies when your customers have become hero customers and maximizes the chances of them buying more and higher basket sizes. Things like preventative campaigns that predict when your customers are about to lapse and stop them from doing it. Even in early trials, we've had amazing ROIs. We've had some really big successes just purely with individual campaigns. When you set up a whole strategy of all of these, the results are phenomenal. And the great thing is that now all of this can be set up, automated, and monitored from within the same platform that you're already using to provide your e-commerce intelligence. So Ametria really is the retail marketer's secret weapon. It is the tool that lets you remain competitive, both in the very tough space that is e-commerce, and against this never-ending march of technology that we've just been talking about that makes it harder and harder for all of us every single day. Because the future is not web analytics, although you do still need to have data. And the future is not an email service provider, although you do still need to send emails. The future is an all-in-one e-commerce marketing platform that lets you focus on the things that you want to do and lets you focus on achieving those successes of growing your business faster. There's an old Japanese proverb that says vision without action is a daydream, and action without vision is a nightmare. Well, we're bringing this proverb into the 21st century because we believe data without action is a daydream, and action without data is a nightmare. And from today, there is no need for either daydreams or nightmares. Thank you.
Your cross-platform tracking from desktop to mobile, is that including clients that are not signed in, and how are you doing that?
Sure. So there's a number of processes. First of all, we create a profile for everyone. So although I talked about email, there's other ways of retargeting that don't require you to actually have the details, so literally display retargeting. So we create a profile for every single user, and we start building that up. At some point, they'll provide more and more uniquely identifiable information, personally identifiable information. So that could be they sign up to your email list, they make a purchase, or later on it could be that they receive an email and they open it on another device, and that obviously links all of that in. Each time we get more information, it's added to the profile, and it makes them more targetable. And each time we identify another one of their devices, then all the previous historical interactions that we have also get added to that profile. So with time, it becomes more and more and more rich as we add all of that information into it.
Any other questions?
Hi. How are you thinking about companies that have both an online platform and an offline platform, and with their offline customers on a kind of different system, and
Absolutely.
wrapping that all up in one complete life cycle?
Absolutely, absolutely. So spot on. This, for us, this is one of the biggest challenges and most exciting aspects of what we do. And actually, the Charlotte Tilbury girls normally come to these events. They haven't. They were the first retailer we did this with. So if you bought something in Selfridges on their counter, then that would be fed in through our API into our system and integrated into the whole singular profile. So our technology is built to be able to do that. The challenges we typically face is actually the ability to get that information off the customer in store. We've got a few retailers that are super successful because they have a loyalty scheme in place and they actually refuse to sell without a loyalty card. I mean, so 5% might just complain for long enough and say, okay, don't worry about the loyalty card. But 95% of in-store transactions actually do go through. But there's got to be a quid pro quo. There's got to be a benefit that you offer to that customer in store for them to be bothered to give you their email address and wait for you to type it in. For us, actually, in terms of a vision, I guess, we believe that email receipt solutions will be the solution to that for us. because the Apple Store experience is just so amazing that why would that not be replicated globally across all of retail? And if you're already providing your email to receive the receipt, then that's everything we need to receive the information about who you are, what products you've purchased, and add it to the profile.
Okay, actually, I've got one final question. Why, Ivan, do you think it's been so difficult to get a single customer view up until this point?
You're right. I mean, it's amazing how hard it's been. But I guess one of the first things that we discovered was you'd have an e-commerce platform, Magento. I think most of us in the room are on Magento, and much though it's expensive to develop on, we do love it because it has got a very good, strong community of people who talk and help each other out. You'll have an ERP, maybe Brightpearl, it's the one we tend to come up to see most often. You'll have an email service provider like .mailer, you'll have a web analytics tool, everyone uses Google Analytics. You'll have all of these things, and everything is in a different place. And that's just how the industry developed. It's not necessarily that it's wrong, it's just, it's massively inefficient. But unfortunately, what retailers did is they bought the best tools in each one of those individual applications, and then they found that all that customer data was in 4 different places. And to build a business that is highly data-driven, that grows really quickly, it is just not enough to have them in 4 places. You have to have them in 1. So I guess until Ametria was founded, it was extremely difficult to do.